It's certainly depressing that I had to become a slave to get the truth and that my peers weren't ready for the truth and couldn't care less, evidently. But when the wall came down, I asked the question, what would Martin Luther King say? But in this address, I want to talk about the prospect that the reason why King wasn't around to say anything was because the Russians were among those who didn't want him around. The issue of whether Russia participated in the murder of Martin Luther King is clear from a number of indications concerning Gail Burstyn. If it was not the case that the Russians were involved, the 80s was the time to say it. This was when Penis Gabriel of Her Majesty's government went to Russia, supposedly under the umbrella of pretending that he was mongering a soothsay for Bush, rather than call out Reagan about the Burstyn letters and protect us. The rabid monger, the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. And it's clear from The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway that Penis was party to what Gail Burstyn was up to. And what they've done is they built a feedback loop into the home system where they're basically using pornography to incite guerrilla gang warfare. They say they're after a right to have pornography. That's obvious. You know, what Lauren Boebert did is part of this syndicated weaponization of home invasion. It's they have in the cult. It's scripted from the Carousel Club, the murder of King, because he was on flagrant um, with the secretaries in his off hours, off duty hours. He was on flagrant with the maids of honor around the White House, supposedly. So this is Penis Sinfield's strategy for Her Majesty's government. That's why they chose someone named Sinfield. Get it? Ha ha ha. AIDS was karma. And John Lennon was the trope whereby they demolished the whole system of liberalization and freedom of association. And they're out for the Knights of Resignation, and they clock the smoke and mirrors of the climate change that pumped carbon into the atmosphere as a conjuring from their medieval mysticism. It's a conjuring from their medieval mysticism that they're doing this. So Lauren Boebert is lampooning medieval mysticism in the name of promoting medieval mysticism. They don't want this to be intercepted on behalf of our Commonwealth and civilization. Now, the way the police were recruited was through the authoritarian dynamism of the great dictator Hitler Reagan. Now, that began with the age of cinema. The age of what happened was at the end of the 19th century, when Grover Cleveland was making the United States a world power, we were given the Statue of Liberty. It was the year after Frederick Douglass died. It was like 1886, I believe. And not long after that, just a couple of decades to the movement of Gandhi in the 1920s and the Roaring Twenties. Well, Hollywood struck back with the era of the great dictators. And the great dictators of Hollywood moved to position Hitler Reagan for the Kennedy assassination. It's not widely talked about the way that Reagan killed JFK, but it is established that Reagan killed JFK. And the media blackout, there's a shadow ban on discussing that. And Arnold Schwarzenegger poached Cersei Kennedy and manipulated Attenborough media, who was in on the Gandhi movie, to position Greta Thunberg, who may or may not be naive and being used or party to this. Gail Burstyn was party to the whole thing, and she was only 12 years old. That's why I asked Greta, would you have kindly, out of the decency of your respect for my honor, answer the question, did you know in advance about COVID-19? Just yes or no, I'll believe you, okay? she's George Washington. She jumped down the cherry tree. She can never tell a lie. Go ahead, tell me. Did you or did you not? And they functioned Mackenzie Shirella into that because, oh, we're going to put Greta away for life. You know, the skepticism that our system has viability is at work in all of this. Now, Lauren Boebert's charms can be turned to a rational potential by openly discussing yes or no, do we support the idea, the medieval idea that we are bringing doom and gloom, that fossil fuel has the right to incinerate us because we refuse to ban pornography and abortion. Okay, that's what that it's the central issue of this whole thing, and we refuse to address it directly. It's criminally insane. It's stupid. It's dumb, and that's how it is. You know, I mean, even Josh Hawley, he mongers, oh, manhood, manhood. But you talk to him about the pornographic genocide, he looks the other way. He jumped. No, he runs for it. Here comes the hillbillies. They're going to raid the Congress. They're going to get rid of that guy. The way to de-weaponize the situation is to address it with masculinity and courage. That's the only way to do it. If they're not going to do it, and just roll over George Washington.